flow and charts starting right now. Feel free to drop any flow requests, questions about the market, questions about unusual whales, so on. It's been kind of a quieter day flow wise. The flow hasn't been that good at all. It's if you caught us earlier on Whale Watch, we didn't really find anything at all good for flow. It was just mostly Periscope here, and we'll take a look at Periscope and our market tide here. Periscope right now, position lower right now. A lot of positive gamma at that 63.35 there. A lot of long puts there. We just had a flip there, so they are still targeting down there. And it has just been a kind of choppy green down day there, or green or choppy down day there. Man, I'm ready for a long weekend this weekend, man. I'm I'm tired. I need a break. Couple extra days off would be nice. Market tide still very bearish here. Premiums are both all call premiums, all put premiums, all call out of the money only. Everything's bid side right now, but we are getting a lot of put volume here, so this is a bearish market tide here. Other than that, yeah, it's the flow has been horrible there. Have you seen anything interesting today, Benny, for flow? Because it has just been brutally slow, just not the best looking flow. And man, we got these oracles that just hit right now. We can take a peek at these. And a lot of this flow has already, again, made a move down, so you're almost chasing these. But let's just kind of look. A lot of risky flow today, and it's been one of those days where you see a lot of chasing going on. But these for the most part look kind of good. IV spike when that flow comes in. Spots filled. That's a little wider bid ask spread there. We have a little decrease in the IV there, kind of decreases, and we come back up. This will get thrown in the risky flow. It's interesting, but it's just nothing super actionable, and you're already down about 1.5% on the day. Yeah, you picked the wrong day to catch up in here because it is gonna be a very slow stream here. I will yeah, let me look at what you posted. Let me just throw this in the risky flow here. So 1 second. Alright, let's see what you dropped me there. So nothing more but pulling up a few that I gotta learn on, but in the meantime, can you help me read a tide that I struggle with how to use this? I get the premium. So that is for IWM. Okay, yeah, let's go look at IWM for you. So your net premium, that is essentially the same thing there as the market tide. You'd read it the same as the market tide. This obviously just on an individual level. IWM is obviously has names within it too, so it's kind of like the market tide, but again just for IWM there. Let's go look at it here. Let's take a peek here. So how I would read this tide here today for IWM. So it's a bearish tide overall. So anything above that zero there, and just look at the net premiums. That's the same thing as the market tide. It's just a different name. Market tide is just everything in the market versus the net premiums are just that individual name. So this is all, and IWM is probably not the best example either because there's obviously names within IWM there too. But that net premium will just be that individual ticker name and so on. And obviously there's thing like it's like if you look at Nvidia or Ford, so on. Like it's just that specific name. Just IWM obviously is an ETF where other names can push into that. So that's all I was kind of getting at that. But this is a bearish. Let's see. So how I would read that. So that drop in that premium there, this could be a whale potentially taking a trade off. So when you see that drop like that, anything above that middle zero line there is considered ask side premium, and this is bid side premium. So something caused this drop here, and it would essentially have been a bid side put that caused that drop there. And let's just see if we can find what did that, and I don't know if we will. It let's see. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, there's just so much volume on it, so it's not always easy to find that. Now, if this was like a Ford or something, I could probably find it a little quicker for you. Let's do bid side. Let's do like 65% bid side and see if we can find that. So we had this 417.31 bid side put come in here. So now you can see how that flow at 12:05, 12:10 Central Standard Time kind of aligns with this. Oh no, actually no, it doesn't. Sorry, excuse me. So 110 there we're looking for. Okay, so I need to find something. Let's see, about an hour later. Let's see, maybe this guy. This looks okay. This is your whale that did that here. So you can see this is a multi-leg trade as well too, and this again coming in at that 110, 115. This is what caused that drop in that premium. And if we kind of look at this as well, let's just see. So okay, it's only 1% of that total premium, and on ETFs it's not the best just because there's so much volume on that. But this is what essentially kind of caused that drop there, and it looks like again multi-leg 99%. We take a peek and it's a multi-leg trade. So like here that cause for that drop was part of this multi-leg trade there. So I would still read this overall as a bearish market tide because you still have your negative volume coming in here, even though your both premiums are bid side there. Now, if you saw a big spike in that call premium to the upside, it'd be worth kind of looking at a little bit more. But that drop there, you're gonna see kind of see like now that. So okay, now we just had a big spike in that put premium. So let's see if we can find what did that, because that just happened there. So let's see if we can find that. So I wonder if it was. So these just came in here, another 5 million. I'm going to assume this is the highest premium one there, so that 22.2 million on that entire chain. This was 5.1 million. It looks like that is what caused our spike right there. And I'm just kind of ignoring that previous flow there, but yeah, this is your one that caused that spike in that net put premium there that we just saw hit there. Could have possibly been, ooh, it could have been this one too. Let's take a peek. Nope, this is from earlier. Let's do the 228. So this could have also contributed to that. So 4.5 million on that. Again, very similar timing there. Let's just see. So yeah, they're not very big for that entire kind of IWM there. Okay, let me catch up on the chat here. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what you have to do. Like, if you see those big reversals, if you just kind of, and again, IWM's not the best example because there's so much flow on that one. Versus if it's like, I'll see if I can try to find a name in here. We'll just pick like a random stock and see if we can find it there. Let's see. Yeah, it's I wouldn't trade strictly just based off the net premiums because a lot of the time those net premiums, again, you kind of got a false reading there when you see that drop and you think, okay, well maybe there's going to be bullish momentum, but we looked and it almost looked like they were possibly rolling out those puts. It was a big multi-leg trade, so it wasn't really anything to be concerned about there. Yeah, I wouldn't trade strictly off the premium. So like when you see those net call premium gaps that I find and put in that channel, I usually do a little diligence into that before I actually post them. Like I'm not just picking like a massive spike there. You would want to look for flow. I would not just trade based off the movement between these there. It's more of a tool just to kind of show you what premiums are doing more so. Like when we look at the net call premium gaps, they're like I usually don't do like very smaller cap names. It's usually those bigger names like a Meta, Nvidia, where you're getting a lot of option flow into that name. So that way it's not like it's one whale moving that entire premium, if that makes a little sense. So like it's a team effort, I'd like to say that. If that makes a little more sense there. Um, I want to see if I can find an example here for you. Oh man, we absolutely just dropped even more though. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, that tide is just absolutely just bloody market. Let me select. Okay, we'll use the oracles for example because this probably should be a good example. So you see that spike in the put premium here at that, what is this, 130, 213. Okay, so this came after that, and okay, so let's see, 205. So it looks like this is your spike there. So this little whale here caused that little spike there. So that's what drives those net premiums. You see that option premium put. So if it's ask side puts, it's gonna make that red line go up, and if it's bid side puts, it's gonna make that red line go down, and then vice versa. If it's ask side calls, it's gonna make that go up, and if it's bid side calls, it'll make it go down. But but if you're like rolling out calls or doing a spread, it can kind of somewhat maybe fluctuate it and make it not look as as it truly is. So like the oracles here, like let's say you just saw that spike in the put premium. I do want to go back and see if we can find this bigger spike here because that would be a good example. But like here, okay, similar timing. This is your big trade. It was 1.1 million. More than likely, probably moving that there because this is 6% of that total premium traded on Oracle on the day. So that 6% of the premium popped that up a little bit there. Now, let me do Oracle here. So we're trying to find what caused that spike about that. What is this, 2:15ish time? So let's just kind of come down here. You can come down, look at that highest volume contracts, just kind of see what's going on there. Maybe the 122. That's what we just looked at there. Let's see, maybe this one here. No, no. I'm just trying to click around to see on the puts to see what we can do. Maybe this. So this one's getting bid side action here, so that would be bringing that premium down technically. So this is where if you're just kind of trading based off the premiums, you can get hurt because these premiums are bid side, so it's going to negatively affect that net call premium there. So that's why I wouldn't just trade based off that net call premium because if this is bid side, they could still technically be bearish on that name and they're just getting filled at the bid there. So you could so then you might get the wrong read if you're just kind of looking at the premiums there. I would not just trade based off the premiums. You kind of got to find names that go along with it. I do want to find what that spike was there. Let's do this. Let's do this. Put. Let's do the ask side. Let's see what we can find here. So it's probably one of these larger ones. Oh yeah, it's been a slow day. Absolutely slow. So maybe that 140 here. Hold on. Let's see, where did my Oracle go? Got too many. Okay, so we were looking at that 130-ish. So this looks like it could possibly be part of that. So it's a 4.6 million trade. That is a significant amount of premium. That's 1% of the total premium on the day here. But like this is an ask side put, so like this could potentially. Oops, man, I can't click. So, geez, what is going on today, man? Okay. Yeah, I'm ready for the extended weekend. Oh, that'll be fun. And you have a long weekend too, being that you are going to be excited to set that computer up and all that. So, like, now if I'm looking at this Oracle flow here, Benny, like, I, I'm not a bit, okay, so it comes in at that, yeah, I mean, I don't see anything, like, interesting in this flow to kind of sway me one way or another. So like that's kind of why if you're like looking just strictly at those net premiums, you could get a little confused there. I would kind of try to find that individual flow more so there. Oh, that's nice. Your birthday's on what, a Monday? Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Um, yeah, let's look at that, the HLs. Let me clean up some of these tabs here quick, because I apparently am a tab monster and just have 1,000 open at once. So HL 424.17C. So okay, this initially looks like it's a good find here. You have 628 contracts there, 126K in premium. This is again 628 contracts traded there. That open interest is only 198, so you know for sure it is an opening trade. Can't dispute that at all. So let's look at the flow here, the actual internals, and see how these look. So I would say this is a good find, Benny. Really good find. Your IV spikes when that flow comes in there. Spot is filling at the ask there. Let's just kind of keep looking at this. Keep looking, keep looking. Yeah, I mean, I would say these are a buy to open. They look like a buy there to me. We do have some trailing flow there. Don't know if it's related. Hard to tell. Let's see, but I have no idea what the average drop. That's where I'm. What do you mean by the average contract price? And no, Pipsy, you have not missed anything. It's been brutally slow all day. I'll let you expand on that for a second there. The spot price didn't go down there at all. Spot price stayed at that fill that entire time. Come back here and take a look. So what you're looking at is that 10:05:37 to that 10:05:37. This is the trade that matters here. That all filled at the ask, so I don't see. Are you talking about kind of later in the day here? So that's, I mean, about an hour later there. Yeah, well, that contract price dropped because it looks like your stock price dropped a little bit there, 20 cents and then another 31 cents there. So that's why that spot price dropped. I wouldn't say this is anything related to this there. Um, I mean that's kind of a really open-ended question there. Should you have sold it then? I wouldn't say yes or no to that one. Um, your whale looks to still be in. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You have a lot of time on those as well there. I mean, what are they trading at? 173. I mean, they're only down about 10%. That's not really, like, I probably wouldn't cut something if I'm only down 10% there, and I have 25 days on it. Now, if I was down that 10 or 15% and they expired this week, that'd be a different story. I mean, you have almost a full month on these. I probably wouldn't drop them or sell them at 10% negative. We can take a peek at the chart. I don't know how that chart looks on it. Let's look at the chart. HL. Let's let's take a peek. So we're 25 days out. So what I would do here is I obviously start this at the kind of daily, knowing it's about a month out. Let me get rid of some of these drawings. So where are we on the chart here? So we are sitting, it looks like, and we'll fine tune the chart a little bit here, but we are just kind of sitting within this little zone right here. Here's our 200-day moving average, and you can see it's been kind of trending up. We've been holding that 200-day moving average near that kind of bottom of the zone there. So I think you're in a good position where you opened your spot there, because you're not far up in that kind of demand support zone there. You're more towards the bottom, so yeah, I'd say you're more willing to see a bounce possibly sooner than, waiting for like a discounted entry to get down there. But I like this on the daily there. I mean, you just kind of zoom out and it's just a very basic chart here. You're not going to get a clean trend line on something like this because it's obviously out so much now, but you at the time that's how I would have kind of drew that trend line, but you technically broke below it, so I'm not going to draw that trend line there. But this just very, very similar or simple looking chart here with we've only been in this spot one other time and we've favored a bounce up there. We almost retested it and we bounced there. Kind of got a little bounce out of that one and then we're sitting in it right now. So I mean, history favors a little bounce at least there. Um, yeah, and this almost doesn't really look like a flag here. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at that weekly volume. Yeah, not really anything major there. How about daily volume one more time? Just kind of trying to look at that. Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, volume wise, not really seeing much. We really sold off from up there. Yeah, I like the little chart setup there. It's a good spot for a risk to reward. You have some time on those contracts. You're sitting near the bottom of that demand zone, right kind of above that 200 day. Now, if I was going to risk anything, I would kind of look for maybe a close below that 200 day that is kind of a little further pricer. Like if I look at this to the bottom of that, I mean, that's a 5% drop. You probably want to cut it before that if you, because it's not right at the bottom of the demand zone. You're like at that 3/4 level there, so you have enough time there. I'd probably say maybe a close below that daily low candle there at what is that? March 20th there. That'd probably be my risk there because that would get you out of the end of the demand zone. But then you're at a really good spot too because you have that 200 day. If we were sitting almost right on top of that 200 day, I'd say it's a really nice prime setup and you have the flow to go along with it. Do we have any other flow on it? Let's just kind of take a peek there. Let's just go see what we got there. So flow, so calls. Okay, so I'm just kind of looking at the net call premium. So this is one of those very good, interesting names. So you had a big spike in net call premium there. Big spike there on Friday. So according to the net call premium gap theory there, or whatever, that price should gravitate towards this and hopefully eventually fill that gap. So you would be kind of looking for upside there, and to kind of fill these gaps, looks like you need that 19-ish or so. That high gap here sitting at that 2061-ish or so. So I mean, there's space to go to the upside, and I don't really see any high put premiums coming in, so that is a good sign there. How about for flow today? Anything else? Yeah, nothing really else. There's just kind of a lot of mixed stuff there. But yeah, that one doesn't look like a bad one at all. Does not look bad at all. Let's see, GPRO. I didn't realize how low the price was on them. I just want to take a peek at it quick. GPRO. GPRO. Oof. Trying to pump the penny stocks in here. Yeah, that's that's something interesting though. I mean, I wouldn't call it out or anything, but like if you were trading that like on your own, like, hey, you know what? Like that's very very interesting that this name doesn't get a lot of option activity, and then you have that big spike today, and it looks like a long two call is what is making that go up there. We'll take a gander at it just for some fun. So like, okay, now this is a good example here, Benny, like where we were talking about the net premiums. This one singular whale here is popping up that net call premium there. And I bet you anything this is like 95% of that trade. 83% of the total premium there. So that is this is a big whale. This is a big whale. But let's just kind of see. And again, anything that's a penny stock there, it's a little iffy on something like that. But let's see, so little IV drop, then your IV rises there. 27.97. Yeah, I mean, man, that's a that's that. So you have flow coming a little after, obviously penny stock there. It's all the same price too, so that's kind of unusual there to me that IV doesn't really fluctuate too much in there. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably read these as a buy. I just, you know how I am with penny stocks. That's something interesting though, but I mean, 200% out of the money for 2028. You know, I don't know if you want to wait that long for something. And it's interesting because you see that flow came in right before that kind of big pop there too, but it hasn't really moved up a whole ton there. All right, let's see Rail. Oh, big yawn there. I am tired. Okay, let's look at Veil here. Let's see what we got for Veil. Clean this up a little bit. Veil, so 3% out of the money. This is a very nice size there, 55.94 against 89 open interest. Definitely an opening trade. It looks like you have your filters figured out, Benny, so I'm happy to see that. Definitely an opening trade. Now let's look at the flow. Oops, let's remove this. So this one, so I'll explain my reasoning kind of behind this one. So it looks good and it looks bad. This is one of those that would probably be in the risky flow for me. So IV drops when that flow comes in. That spot is filling at the ask though, so let's just kind of look through the tape here. So that IV staying at that 45.88, that spot's continuing to fill at the ask. It's one of those coin flip ones kind of for me. I like that it's filling at the ask there. That spot price doesn't drop at all. Everything fills at the ask. I just don't like that IV decrease when it comes in. That's the only thing, and it's a little later, obviously there, but I just don't like seeing that IV decrease when that flow comes in there. Now again, just because that IV decreases doesn't mean that the trade's not going to work out. I do like everything else about it. Filling at the ask, good premium. This also, oops, let's go in here. This actually got a big spike in net call premium just recently. So let's see this, and this is why it's nice to look through multiple data points, because this way you can actually kind of potentially find something. So let's say you're a little iffy on this flow. Well, hey, we just had a big spike in the net call premium. Let's go see what caused that. So it looks like Here we go. A 128.28.17 call looks to have caused it. Look at all that volume that's hitting the tape there. So the 15.5 is what we were looking at. So you now know on top of that 15.5 call that you liked, there's another very large whale coming in here. And this one, so we got 5,200 contracts there. 2,100 there and another 49 there. So giving us that 12,000. Now we also have 16,000 open interest on these. So let's just kind of take a peek. I want to see if all these kind of came in at once and when they started kind of coming in and so on. So it looks like a lot of this came in January. So let's just kind of go look at that move here. So could it be these two whales right here? So you got 4,200 there plus we're going to say 8,000, so you're about 12,000. These are about 12,000. So this is one where I'd want to go back and check that open interest tomorrow. Now, this is again kind of coming back. I'm happy we're getting these examples because these are some pretty good examples there of that net call of just using the premiums. So now, let's say this volume drops off tomorrow. So if you come back and look at this tomorrow, that open interest, I have a feeling it might drop or somebody else is buying it. So if this open interest, so three scenarios, excuse me, scenarios for the open interest. That open interest increases by about that 12,000. So you're going to be at that 26,000 to 30,000 ish range, give or take. This open interest stays the same. That means this bid side whale here potentially pass them off to somebody else. Somebody else is holding those contracts. Now, if that open interest drops by about 12,000 and we're sitting at maybe 4,000 or so, that whale close these. So, and these, they're bid side, so you might think they're short calls. If they're short calls, they're buying them back at a loss. So I personally think, if you ask me about my opinion, I think this whale got in at the bid here and they're taking profits today. So I would want to double check that open interest on this one. If you remind me tomorrow in the live, we can circle back to this one because this is actually a pretty good example. And so like that's where, if you're just like looking at the premiums there, like that one trade there spikes it and you think it's um yeah, no, I know you're looking at the 410s. I'm just kind of trying to show you an example here of using multiple data points there. So, because like when we looked at that 410 there, I said I wasn't a fan because that IV dropped when it came in, even though that spot filled at the ask the entire time. So like if you're trying to match that up with like another piece of flow, like knowing there's more bullish flow, and then we found this one in the highest volume contracts there. Um, yeah, I mean it's you can I use as much data as I can, even though they're 2028 there. Maybe this whale is getting out right now because I don't think Vale's gonna go up anymore. Kind of something like that. Just I try to think like 3D in a 3D like mindset. Like, okay, well this whale's getting out here. I know there's shorter term options on this. Why is this whale getting out? Do they think they're done? But we don't know for sure. This will be one that we want to come back to and check tomorrow just to see how that open interest performs there. But yeah, for the one you were asking, I was a little iffy on it just kind of with that IV drop when that flow started to come in there. So I was just trying to see if we could find something else to kind of tag along with that flow there. So Vale, okay, what do we got going? Let's just kind of pop back here. Oh man, we are hitting all those lower targets now. Geez, just another brutal day. Yeah, no, feel free to drop it. Please drop it in there. The stream goes a lot better if there's options for me to look at. So please drop it in there. I'm just gonna take a quick look at Luke. Jesus, man. Okay, I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna get a drink here. Give me 1 second. Yeah, they're hitting all that kind of lower level there. Man, they have faded every bounce. We got the gap up and just sell off. It has just been wild. Wild, wild, wild. And market tide again, still bearish here. I mean, you're not even really seeing call participation on those pops there. That's a little worrisome there. I mean, we have had not a good couple weeks just overall in the market. All right, let's look at these cells here for you. So again, 127, so 853 contracts, $1.27 a piece. Let's see how these look. So again, these look pretty good here. So that IV spikes when they come in. Spot is filling at the ask here. Let's just follow this up. IV doesn't blink at all, it looks like. IV stays at that 64.19. We fill at the ask there, so it's doing a mid fill here, but looks like that bid ask there just kind of increased there. I would say that's probably a nothing burger fill of the ask for the most part. They probably just got tired of selling them at 127 and made a little wider bid ask there. Um, I would say these look like buys to me there. The only I gotta stop closing out of that. I'm not ready to close out. I need to go up here. So these, okay, this is 8% of the total premium, so it's a sizable whale. 4% out of the money. These came in at that 1120, 1125. So it looks like this whale here caused that spike in the put premiums there. So good little find there. And it looks like we had another maybe whale that caused us to pop there. So we'll see if we can find that whale too. But this one looks pretty good to me, Benny. There, 4% out of the money. The only thing I would be a little concerned about is that you're already kind of down almost 2% on the day. But flow wise, that looks like a good piece of flow there. I've said this like the last 4 or 5 streams. I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep chasing puts, but we just tend to keep on falling. But nope, that's a good flow read on those. I just want to see if we can see what else made that. So again, it looks like it's that long dated kind of put that possibly added to that spike there at that 1155 to 12. So yep, that is your other whale that caused the spike there, and that is a multi-leg trade. So again, you you might get a different reading than what it truly is because you see that spike in that net premium. These are 100% multi-leg here. So let's just kind of look at this. So it's like this is a multi-leg that involves shares. So that's you don't know what's really going on in there. Yeah, but that piece of Celsius flow that you sent me looked pretty good. The first one. Let's say again because of the midfill. Yeah, it's probably better to kind of avoid something like that. Once you get just that screen time down, you kind of just see it and you start to understand it over time. Let's do HYG here. HYG. So let's see, we are just kind of sitting flat on this one. Yeah, this is our only kind of call premium, a lot of call volume. We'll see what is doing that here. Oof, there is a lot of goofy stuff kind of going on with this one. Let's see if we can find something of interest. So it looks like this is probably what is causing that net call premium to go up, and it does look like it's multi-leg. So this was about that 920-ish. So yes, this is that whale that caused that to go up. This is 7% of that total premium. and it's multi-leg. So again, why you can't always just trust on the stuff there. And it's a messy multi-leg there. You got an ask and a bid side put coming in there. So yeah, I don't see anything there. And so the multi-legs will still show up there. Um, like I have, no, I have my multi-leg open. Yeah, if they're connected, I believe that's how it pulls it in. I wouldn't remove the multi-legs. It's nice to see and just make sure there's not anything like unusual going on around it. Yeah, no, Lilu, it has been a very slow flow day. I don't know if you caught Whale Watch earlier, but man, it was like pulling teeth to find flow, and it was just a horrible slow morning. And I think it might be like that this week with earnings cut or not earnings, excuse me, the market being closed on Friday. You didn't miss anything. You did not miss anything at all. It's just been brutally slow. Let's look at these long dated core calls here quick. So these are interesting. Again, another one like this whale right here impacted that net call premium. You see that spike there. 2% of the total premium. These are 8% of the money, so very long dated here. But let's just look at them. So like these look good. IV spikes when it comes in. Spots fill with the ask. IV doesn't change at all. Spot fills with the ask that entire way. I mean, it looks like a nice buy there. I'm going to throw these in the long dated channel. Yeah, there just hasn't been a lot of good flow, and that's how it can. That's how it gets, especially when there's uncertainty in the market. I mean, nobody knows to get calls. Nobody knows to get puts. Nobody knows if there's going to be a ceasefire agreement or some after-hour news. I mean, it's not an easy time to trade right now. Like I didn't have a good day on Friday. I took some of those spy calls during Whale Watch there, and it it didn't pay off. Like it happens. You will have some losing days. Let's see. Oh, we'll go back to IWM here. Let's take a peek. So let's see, we were trading 239. Yeah, what's the overall market tide kind of doing? Yeah, it looks like kind of the overall market tide's kind of popping a little bit. That and this late in the day too. I mean, you got 15 minutes left to go. I would just kind of watch here. You have market on close coming up here too in 5 minutes, so that's a whole nother thing with kind of some repositioning throughout the end of the day. That last 10 minutes, I usually don't trade that last 10 minutes. So you'll see them kind of doing that in there too. All right, let's see what else we got. Anything else? Periscope switch at all? Yeah, have a great rest of your afternoon, sir. We'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, Periscope here. Yeah, we're sitting. I mean, man, we targeted a lot of that downside and we hit most of it. I'm not inclined to kind of do anything call related right now. I mean, look at that negative volume. That is some nasty negative volume in there. And our market tide also still very bearish. I I took some lotto calls on Thursday actually, like towards close, and then we got a quick pop after close, and I tried to sell them because they were a little lotto position. It wasn't something I wanted to call out for anybody in here just because it was more of a little lotto position there, and I was just hoping for a little dead cat bounce. I got it right after close, but that option market for SPY closed right at that 315 for me. I had my order in at like 314. I didn't get filled, and then Friday I got caught in that gap down. That was not fun. Not fun at all. Alright, we're going to hang it on the Periscope screen here for a couple minutes and just kind of see what it does. I want to see what that flip looks like there. They're good on spy, but yeah, I Friday and then I over traded today. I tried to force a trade today on Whale Watch. I know better to trade than when I'm doing a live. Like I absolutely 100% know better than that. And I was like, oh, these look good. But hey, you know what? All that means is the stock hub price is going to go up to about $80 a month to make up for the losses. Oh, not really. I'm not that mean, I promise. Let's see. I just want to watch for that update here, so I want you guys to catch that update. So we'll hang out here for about 3-4 minutes, and we'll just see how that flips. So just kind of pay attention to where these bars are right now. So there's a lot of positive gamma down here. You can see they're long those puts here. So we're gonna have that flip here in about 5 minutes or so. Now it looks like we're bouncing. So like if I was inclined to short here this 63.35 here, I'd want to see it kind of maybe stick at this level, and then I'd maybe potentially look for a short there. But again, we're coming to the last like 10 minutes of the day there. I just want to see what that flip does here at 52-ish or so. So we're just going to kind of keep an eye on that. But with the way everything's kind of been moving today, I wouldn't doubt if we see this kind of reject a little bit there. But we'll just keep an eye here. We have MOC coming up here in 2 minutes, and we have the update on Periscope as well there. Let's see. I'm just going to kind of answer a text here. While we do that, let's see. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just replying to a text here quick. Sorry, 1 second. Just waiting for that update. Hey, it does look like we're kind of rejecting out that level. So that's kind of a good example there where it's when you see that positive gamma there, it usually acts as kind of a slowdown area. I like to say that. So that's and they're long puts at that level there too. So they want those to be in the money there. So just keeping an eye on this. Keep it an eye. Because we'll get that update here in about a minute or two. Alright, let's see here. Let's see. Waiting for our flip here. Should begin it very shortly. But it's you see how we're rejecting off that 63.35 now. Like that's what you're looking for, and it kind of wants to pop there. Again, it's hard in that last 10 minutes of the day because you have that market on close. But you see how that stops. It acts like a buffer there. And that's to the downside as well too. Like if you're looking to short there now, you know it's a really bearish SPY net premium here. If it was earlier in the day, it'd be a little better, but bearish bearish net premium on SPY there, I'd be looking to short there and see what we can get down to. But let's just see. We should be getting that update here on Periscope very shortly. Let's just see. And it kind of wants to pop a little bit through this level. We'll get that update here probably in about 15-20 seconds or so. Just waiting to see these lines flip here. I just want to move the mouse away. So we are kind of popping, so that might kind of foreshadow maybe a decrease in the gamma down here since our levels were hit there. We'll see, because you are coming into that good resistance spot here too. Alright, I should be getting that update here very shortly. Alright, so I'm just waiting for a little action there. And that's the only thing that kinda isn't fun with Periscope. You have to wait for that update every 10 minutes or so, and they only get that data once it updates on the exchange's end. Should be getting it here. Can pop over to the 1 day out expiration just to take a peek at it as well until we wait. So like here, I mean, you still see a lot of positive gamma down here. Some long puts. You have some positive gamma up here as well. So price likes to kind of gravitate towards that. So we'll have to see because you have some up for tomorrow, and then you have okay. So we update. Let's go back to the 0 day. So okay, kind of like I was saying there. I said we were seeing a kind of a little pop there, and then I thought, well, maybe we're gonna see a little decrease. So those white dots are the previous 10 minutes. So we did have some decreasing positive gamma here. So I think we're done with the downside at least for today. This 63.35 expanded a little bit here. They don't want to lose this level, otherwise you get into that kind of acceleration zone there a little bit, and your negative gamma is pretty much an acceleration zone. So like if I'm trading this in the last like 5 minutes here, I have two targets. I'm either targeting from this. If you think we're bullish, I would target that. Get out of the way. Come here. This positive gamma at 63.35, or if you think we're still bearish, you would kind of target down here that 63.05. And I think with the kind of decline in that positive gamma there and the big spike there, they technically move the positioning up, so that would be considered kind of bullish there, I'd say. I think we're just gonna, yeah, I think it wants to run a little bit here into close. It looks like wants to run into close. That is very interesting to me there. We'll see. We got 5 minutes left, and what makes me not want to go along to is look at our put premiums. They're just climbing, and that volume is just expanding there. It's not a go long, and all the pops have been faded every time there. Just want to see what we do. I mean, it's kind of crawling up there. Still wanting to crawl up there. Yeah, I just don't get a good feeling on these pops anymore until we can sustain them. I mean, everything just keeps getting sold off. Let's just see the last 5 minutes here. Yeah, I was just getting that little pop there. So this would be a spot to maybe have a little concern. You do have some short puts up here at that 63.50, and you know that put premium is kind of climbing there. Again, 4 minutes left in the day. I'm probably not going to trade a 0 DTE on something like this. For instance, 60s. So max pain All that is, so that updates every day. Max pain is different every single day. That is just derived from where market makers would collect the most premium if calls and puts expire worthless. So that number changes based off the open interest every day. So that's just kind of something to kind of just be aware of. I wouldn't trade something based off that, but your max pain is literally just where pretty much the maximum pain would be for traders because their options would expire worthless. There's so much stuff to this, and it's just like, geez. Oh man, what a Monday. Yeah, no, it's they're all data points, and that's what I was talking about earlier. It's you want as many data points as possible. Like the more data points, the more likely it's gonna work out. Like that's why I mean, if I look at a chart, I like the chart. I have flow to go along with it. I see positive gamma. Maybe it has a big net call premium gap to the upside or something. Like you have all those little data points to go with it there. So it's very nice to have as much as possible. I mean, there's you in this game you will not be disappointed if you have as many data points as possible. And then you have something like this with Iran and then US, and that just totally throws everything out of the all the hard work and everything out of the down, or puts it all down the drain, and it's like, cool, I did all that, and yeah. So that, I mean, that's the thing with macro and stuff. It can make a big impact if there's a war and then you have energy pushing up. It's not always fun to kind of deal with stuff like that. So we did push down off that pot or that negative gamma. So they were short puts there. I'm surprised they kind of rejected. I would have figured they might have popped a little bit more, but we'll see here. Got a minute to go. Got a minute to go, and then we are already 25% done with the week. Thankfully, I am excited. I am excited for the long weekend there. Minute left. We got 25 seconds, 20 seconds there. Yeah, it's a very wild market, and that's the thing too. Like everybody thinking they know what's going to happen right now, nobody knows what's going to happen right now. This is everything is different. Every day is different. Every new little headline's a new development, either good or bad or anything. But the longer this goes on, the more uncertainty there is in the market. Usually, the market's not a fan of uncertainty. So, just right now, I just don't like chasing the market when we're down. We'll just, I mean, we'll just kind of go up here to the beginning of March. We'll do the beginning of March here. Let's just do this, and then I'll wrap up quick. Beginning of March here, we are down almost 10% in the market. I don't like chasing the market when it's down that much. The market will stay down, but man, that thing can have a face ripping rally very quickly. Like something good comes out, there can be a big rally, and I do not want to be caught holding puts on that. But alright, thank you guys for hanging out, and we will be back at it tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your night.